Well, hi everyone. That was weird. That was bizarre. Um, Very interesting to see my live stream be mass recorded especially since this video is publicly available on YouTube. Let me just show you guys. I mean, I showed this at the beginning of my live stream, right? Um, so here we go. Let me remove. So the documentary that we are watching right now, it's called Decadence and Downfall. It is literally available on YouTube. Like you can watch it for free, right? So I don't understand where this copyright issue comes in from. That's obviously the bots um, trying to mass report the channel because there is something called fair use and commentary. And the whole purpose of this live stream is not to just broadcast the documentary and that's it. The purpose of the live stream is to comment on the documentary in order to provide you, especially non-Iranians, with the Iranian perspective and to provide additional context. So, I mean, if I was just live streaming this on its own, that's one thing, but very, very sneaky use. The last time that these people took down my live stream was a couple of weeks ago, and they actually mass reported me for streaming as a minor under 13. So yeah, I was speaking about like I was showing um, videos of Hamas murdering Palestinians, and then my live stream was taken down because apparently I was live streaming as a minor under 13. So these bots are definitely working hard, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying anything controversial. The documentary is available itself for free on YouTube. You can go watch it. This is the YouTube link right here. So there you go. I don't know why these people feel so threatened by the fact that I'm just sharing truth about Iran and sharing the Iranian perspective on what happened leading up to 1979. But thank you everyone for joining. Welcome back. We are going to continue. We'll continue on and let's see what happens. So that live stream was taken down. Um, I've appealed it, so I'm gonna have to wait and see what the YouTube appeal says. But I'm definitely gonna fight that because I think it's really important for Iranians to have an opportunity to comment and criticize documentaries and videos about Iran, right? It's important for us to get our voice out there. And again, like it was over an hour's worth of live stream and yet it was only 16 minutes. We were only about 16 minutes into the video, so it's not like a copyright thing, right? There you go. So we're going to continue on. Thank you everyone for joining. Please, like, and they reported me for third-party audio tools. What does that even mean? Like that means nothing, right? So again, like so it's totally a bogus claim, right? It's a completely bogus claim. But they're just trying everything, I guess. They're just trying everything they can to take down my live stream. Strange. I mean, I'm just a small channel. I only have like what 15,000 subscribers and yet this is how much of a threat I am, where I'm just trying to share information about the history of my own country. I hope I hope this at least gives gives non-Iranians a better understanding of how much they have tried to gaslight us and silence our voices these last 47 years, right? Where even the fact that I am talking about a publicly available documentary about Iran, that in and of itself is threatening enough to them that they try to shut down the channel and the live stream. They don't like that. They don't like that. So, but we will keep going. We will continue on. All right, so let's see where we were, and we're going to continue with this publicly available documentary, which is available on YouTube to watch for free.
قبلی نبود. مصدق میخواست برگرده به قانون اساسی و شاه فقط بشه سلطنت.
So I think you know what's interesting is at the moment where my live stream went down, it was Shahanshah Aryamer who was speaking. So his voice is not considered third-party copyright content. So again, it's utter nonsense, right? What they're trying to do here.
مشروطه و شاه اینو نمیخواست. شاه میدید که روز به روز داره قدرتش از دست میده.
Attention is focused once again on the Middle East, where events in Iran have taken a dramatic double twist. Forced to flee his palace in Tehran, the Shah and his queen arrive in Rome after an alleged attempt by the Imperial Guard to arrest Dr. Mossadegh and a refusal by the Shah to dissolve Parliament at Mossadegh's request.
I had not abandoned hope. My heart was light. It took only 2 days before the people called me back.
بالاخره هم خب مصدق با کودتای آمریکای انگلیسی میدونید که سقوط کرد.
Okay, so that makes no sense. So this is the coup d'etat, right? So it's literally the communists and the propagandists who pushed this coup d'etat narrative, but it was never it was not a coup d'etat. Mossadegh tried to suspend the parliament and suspend the constitution. The Americans and the British, they provided the Shah with finances because he had been pretty much shut out of everything. So they provided him with the finances he needed to go in and do what needed to be done. But it's not like there were any American, I mean, not to my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there was any American boots on the ground. It's not like the US Army invaded, right? This was all done it was all done by Iranian people for Iranian people, because even the Iranian people didn't want Mossadegh, they wanted the Shah back. So to claim that this was some sort of American coup d'etat, and now they have like images of tanks here as if, they're trying to assume or they're trying to imply that like these were Americans. Again, that's false, right? But that coup d'etat narrative comes from the communists who are trying to smear the Shah. Amir, like, subscribe, and Javid Shah. Thank you, Amir. Yes, Javid Shah. All right, let's continue. I also find it, guys, I also find it really interesting that the Shah left the country for 2 days, right? He left the country for 2 days because he was advised to leave due to multiple assassination attempts. Okay, so he left so that he wouldn't be assassinated by the communists. And yet all of a sudden, when he returned, that was a coup d'etat, right? Like they're trying to claim that because Mossadegh was there for 2 days and he was trying to shut down the parliament, all of a sudden he had legitimacy, right? So he was never democratically elected. Mossadegh was appointed by the Shah, just like every single prime minister before Mossadegh, just like every single prime minister after Mossadegh, right? So again, Iran was constitutional monarchy. Mossadegh was not the first and only prime minister. There were prime ministers before him and after him. But the Shah had to leave because his life was in legitimate danger because Mossadegh kept on trying to assassinate him, right? Because in order for Mossadegh to be able to consolidate power, suspend the parliament, and take control of the Iranian army, he had to have the Shah deposed, right? So he was trying to assassinate the Shah so that he could replace the Shah, become the ruler, I guess, the new Shah, and then he wanted to hand the country over to the Soviets because he was funded by the Soviets. That's what's missing from this narrative about Mossadegh right now. They're not mentioning the Soviet money and the Soviet funding that enabled Mossadegh to be able to do what he did.
Until 1953, my life was a succession of pain and suffering and humiliation.
So he comes back in 1953, knowing very well that this was a foreign-engineered coup d'etat.
Wow. So this person is definitely pushing the Islamist communist propaganda, right? Like he's calling it a coup. Like this narrative, if someone tried to say this today, like in Farsi, um, we would not take him seriously. But this is how they get away with it in English, right? These people just promote this false narrative about this coup d'état. So they're just going to continue talking about coup d'état, but they're never going to actually have anything to back it up here. The Shah was gone for 2 days, basically, in order to protect his life because Mossadegh was trying to assassinate him. And then when it was safe, he returned, which makes sense to me. But yet somehow the Shah returning is the coup d'état. However, for Mossadegh to try and suspend parliament and create a constitutional crisis, that's not the coup d'état, right? Mossadegh trying to take over the government is not the coup d'état. It's the Shah protecting Iran, right? Do you see how like so the people that are talking about what happened in 1953 are the ones who lost and they're bitter about it, so they are smearing the Shah, right? Because the vast majority of Iranians are thankful that the Shah protected the country and did not allow Mossadegh to suspend parliament and the constitution.
In his name, knowing very well that he is coming into a country that essentially does not want him.
Again, that's literally another lie. The country wanted him, that's why he came back. The country did not want Mossadegh. Wow, this guy is like pure propaganda, like pure communist propaganda here. So everything that guy is saying is 100% lies.
What does he have to do as a politician? There are two ways. One way would be trying again to be the people's monarch within, again, a context that was still in flux. There's a lot of radicalism, a lot of disenchantment, right? Or ruling with a strong hand. And the Shah, with increasing funds through the oil revenues, with increasing confidence in his alliance with the United States, he established a militarized security state, trying to find out how I can keep myself in office as a monarch.
تعطیلات عید پیش می‌آمد آقای علم رفتن به اروپا.
Je ne sais pas si l'année de plus blonde, mais de plus belle, il n'en est pas pour moi. Elle est vraiment.
I don't know what Allende is. I don't know what that means, Major. Sorry.
Toute la joie du monde, ma vie commence dès que je la vois. Et je fais oh, et je fais ah. C'est si bon.
آقای علم تا برگشتن جلسه تشکیل دادن و اشاره کردن گفتن که شاید هم بد نباشه ما اونجا چادر بزنیم پذیرایی کنیم، چون در زمان قدیم هم چادر میزدن. این مؤسسه فرانسوی جانسن طرحی تهیه کرده که ما یک خونه های پیش ساخته بسازیم، روش هم یه چیز پلاستیکی میکشیم به صورت چادر.
Mr. Alam was very efficient. I think it was his character to get it done. He found
Salvador Allende. Okay, the Marxist in Chile. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now I get it. Now that makes sense. Okay.
the simplest way to do it, to go to a professional, to do the tents, to do the food, to do the catering, the servants.
I'm going to Maxime's to lose myself in dreams.
Maxime, à cette époque, était considéré dans l'une des meilleures tables. La direction, M. Vaudable, avait fait connaître Maxime vraiment dans le monde entier. Nous étions à Boston, parce que Maxime avait fait un gala à l'opéra de Boston. Nous dînions avec M. Vaudable et il a dit « Je ne vous dis rien encore, mais vous allez vivre de grands moments ». Ma première réaction, c'était une grande inquiétude et un enthousiasme pour apporter une petite pierre à cet événement quand même mondial. Hein.
صحبت جشن در داخل مملکت بود. اینی که پادشاهان بیانه اصلا صحبت این حرفا اون موقع نبود. بعد از اینی که آقای علم این قرارداد با مؤسسه جانسن و مکسیم بستن توجه زیاد شد به این جشن و از این طریق بودش که چشم
So he's saying basically like when the Shah signed that deal with Maxim and then the other one, like these foreign restaurants, that's when people around the world started to pay attention and started to notice about the 2,500 year anniversary celebration that the Shah was going to hold, and then I guess that's where the hype about it happened. So again, the Shah was very forward thinking. He knew exactly what he was doing with the 1971 celebration. He was basically putting Iran on the map, right? So he did that to showcase Iran, to show Iran to the world, and every single penny that he invested in that 2,500 year celebration was returned in dividends, like exponentially, right? Because that's what encouraged non-Iranians to visit Iran, to go to Iran, businesses to invest, right? Like it was the place to be. Again, there's a reason it's called the biggest and best party in history, because it's literally the biggest and best party that was ever held. And I'm kind of glad that he did that. I'm actually very glad he did that, because he not only put Iran on the map, he was also celebrating and honoring 2,500 years of Persian heritage and history, right? Most countries are not even 1,000 years old, right? So imagine celebrating the anniversary of a country that's 2,500 years old. Of course, it's going to be a huge, big gala. Why not?
چشمی پیدا شد.
Sur un terrain d'aviation proche de Paris, viennent d'être montées 2 tentes géantes. Ces tentes sont destinées au camp qui va être dressé à Persépolis pour la célébration du 2500e anniversaire de la fondation de l'Empire de Perse par Cyrus le Grand.
So that's
Cyrus the
guys,
Great
that's
has this sort of religion.
that's Cyrus the Great, right? The founder of the Persian Empire. It was actually Cyrus the Great Day 2 days ago.
Just political value. He's ostensibly in the Quran. He's definitely in the Bible. The Greeks love him. The Persians clearly value.
Wait. Let me go back, because now he's talking about. So now this guy's talking about the importance of Cyrus the Great, not just to Iranians, but to many other people. Here.
Pour la célébration du 2500e anniversaire de la fondation de l'Empire de Perse par Cyrus le Grand.
Cyrus the Great has this sort of religious political value. He's ostensibly in the Quran. He's definitely in the Bible. The Greeks love him. The Persians clearly valued him a lot. I mean, he's one of the few that has a tomb. It's the one tomb that nobody's demolished at any time. He's a figure that all political factions in a way also can buy into. He's a humanist. He's an Enlightenment leader. He emancipated. He liberated the Jews. He likes minorities. He treated people with dignity. And Cyrus becomes this blank slate onto which the Shah projects his own image so that he may be reflected in his glory.
He was the first to introduce justice. He was the first man who introduced the Bill of Rights. We have the scroll. Well, you have the real scroll in your museum. You took it from us.
کاش که تو جامعه ما اون حرفها مثلا پا میگرفت و میرفت جلو. شاه هر قدم که رفت جلو و سیستم ساواک و سرکوبش و اینا.
So this guy is like just one of those, like, so this guy is one of those university students who helped to overthrow the Shah and turn Iran into a 1979 Islamic hellhole governed by Sharia law. So I mean, he wanted that, and yet he's living in the comfort of a Western country, right? So that's how hypocritical these people are. They have no shame. He's still slandering the Shah, and the reason he's doing so is because he still needs to justify what he did, right? Because there is no excuse for what happened in 1979. It was all based on lies and slander, and everything coming out of this guy's mouth is a lie. Remember, he said that there were no elections in Iran prior to 1979, and yet we've already established that there were numerous prime ministers in the country, right? And that there were parliamentarians and politicians. And how did they get there? Through elections. So this guy is a walking lie. Don't trust anything he says about the Shah or Savak or anything like that. And he won't have any proof to back it up. They never do.
درست مخالف اون چیزایی که تو اون لوحه کوروش نوشته عمل کرد. بابا شب ریخت خونه ما. ساعت 11 شب بود، مادرم منو بیدار کرد، اسمان بلند شد، ساواکیا خونه پرن، همه جا رو گشتن و هیچی گیر نیاوردن.
Oh no, so you're basically an Islamist who was plotting to overthrow the Shah. So the Savak, guys, by the way, Savak is basically like CIA and FBI, right? Like every country has police that is tasked with safeguarding the national security interests of the country. Savak is no different from that. Savak was actually inspired by the CIA, okay? But these people who were literally working to destabilize the country, they're complaining about Savak. Why? Because Savak was onto them. Savak was onto them. But the worst story he can come up with is Savak raided my house and they found nothing, so they left me, right? So again, like these people will trash the Shah, they will trash Savak. Did I get another notification here? What's going on? Hey, what's going on here? Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, so look at this. Look at this. So my previous live stream was removed, right? For like copyright infringement or whatever. I appealed it and I just got a notification saying that claim resolved, your dispute was successful. So my previous live stream is back up. So great success, guys. They mass reported my live stream to try and remove it and maybe to remove my channel. But thankfully, I appealed it. So again, that just goes to show how much they're trying to silence my voice and also prevent you guys from learning the truth, right? Because there's nothing wrong with showing publicly available documentaries on YouTube and commenting on it. So yeah, I just got the notification. Your dispute was successful. So there you go. All right, so now we can carry on. But anyway, so this guy's lying, right? Like he's just gonna lie about Starbucks. He's not gonna have anything to back it up.
منم باورم نمیشد این همه کتاب تو خونه حتما شانس آوردن. دیگه اینجاها شدیم سیاسی، یعنی واقعا این چه سیستمیه.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna be a communist who's plotting to overthrow the Shah and turn the country into like an Islamic hellhole, of course it's the Shah's responsibility to try and stop you from doing that, right? That's the thing. Like these people never actually admit that they're communists, but the way they talk, you can tell. Like these were the communists. Terrible. Okay, so it's interesting that they don't actually like talk about this part, but let me read it for you, okay? So these are the sweeping reforms that the Shah did in 1963 as part of the White Revolution to modernize Iran, okay? So the sweeping reforms include the rights for women, like, he basically gave women the right to vote. Women in Iran had the right to vote in 1963 before women in Switzerland, Sweden, Portugal, and other places. And also the redistribution of land to peasant farmers. So he took land that belonged to rich feudal lords and clergy, and he gave it to the peasants and the farmers. And so the rich feudal lords and the clergy did not like that. So these are the sweeping reforms. Look up White Revolution of Iran. You'll find it all there. So Raptor, thank you. Thank you for the support, and I hope you're enjoying tonight's live stream. This is part 2 of the live stream because part 1 was taken down by bots. They mass reported me for a so-called copyright violation, which I then appealed. It was resolved, but this is part 2 of the live stream. So welcome and thank you for the support, Raptor. Okay, so this is like these wide sweeping reforms were literally meant to help Iranian people and modernize Iran. And this is what was upsetting the communists and the clergy, right? They didn't like this. They didn't like the fact that Iran was modernizing. They were losing their grip over the country.
I think the problem of the White Revolution was in many ways a top-down process that was primarily, I think, geared towards positioning the Shah as that benevolent monarch who gives out charity almost to Iran.
So the fact that the Shah gave women the right to vote without women having to fight for it and complain about it, that was a problem. Do you see? Do you see like how they try to spin the narrative here? The Shah knew what was good for the country, okay? And people loved him for it. They loved him for it. And yet these people are trying to spin it as if him modernizing Iran and him improving human rights in Iran was like a bad thing, right? Like they're trying to smear everything that he did. Like, what did this guy want? Did he want Iranian women to go out in the streets and protest before they got the right to vote? The Shah was intelligent enough and smart enough to recognize that, if we want to have a modern functioning society, men and women must be equal. So I'm going to give them the right to vote because that's what modern, secular, normal countries do. And yet that's apparently a problem for this guy.
So it was in many ways an act of propaganda more than anything else.
So this guy just called the White Revolution of Iran an act of propaganda, which is complete and utter nonsense, right? Like they're just like bashing the Shah right now here for no reason whatsoever, for no reason whatsoever. The Shah gave women the right to vote. Apparently that's an act of propaganda, right? The Shah took land away from feudal lords. The Shah got rid of serfdom. The Shah gave land to poor people. That was an act of propaganda, according to these people.
If you are unhappy that your country is saying goodbye to a feudalistic system, if you are unhappy that half of the population of your country, the women, are emancipated, well, this I cannot help.
Yeah, like so even back then, right? Like the people were complaining about the White Revolution, and the Shah, like God bless his soul, he answered perfectly. He said, if you're upset by the fact that half of the population now, if you're upset the fact by women are no longer second-class citizens, that's your problem, right? Listen to what he said. Like, so like these complaints you're hearing now, they started back then, and they've just evolved over time.
So it was in many ways an act of propaganda more than anything else.
If you are unhappy that your country is saying goodbye to a feudalistic system, if you are unhappy that half of the population of your country, the women, are emancipated, well, this I cannot help.
Right? So he's saying, if you're pissed off by the fact that women are now emancipated, women have the right to vote, I can't help you with that, right? So he's literally calling out the people who were complaining. These were the people who were upset.
Khomeini was a pure cleric. His grandfather, his father, all of them were steeped in Islamic theology, and this whole idea that Iran was not primarily an Islamic country was for him utterly unacceptable.
right? So the Islamic Shia clerics did not like the fact that the Shah was giving women the right to vote and that women were treated equally to men in Iran, and women could dress however they wanted to dress, right? Like again, so these are images and videos of Iran prior to the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Part of the reason that the Islamic Revolution happened is because of the White Revolution. It's because the Shah gave women the right to vote, and the Islamic clergy did not like that.
اول خمینی نامه می‌نویسه به شاه که آقا این کارا رو نکنید، این کارا مخالف اسلام و اینها.
Right? So Khomeini sends a letter to the, first of all, I don't even know who he thinks he is. Like the audacity for an Islamic Shia cleric to just assume that he can tell people how to live their lives, right? Just the audacity, first of all. But second of all, he writes a letter to the Shah and he says, don't give women the right to vote. That's against Islam. So this gives you a sense of the ideology of these savages who unfortunately ended up taking over Iran and turning it into a 7th century Islamic hellhole governed by Sharia law, right? Like they're not mincing words. They're showing you exactly who they are and what they believe. And according to them, women having the right to vote is against Islam.
شاه نه فقط جواب نمیده، کماندوها میریزن توی مدرسه فیضیه، در و پنجره ها رو میشکنن و حتی شاید یکی دو نفر کشته میشن، عده زیادی دستگیر میشن.
So this is the propaganda, okay? So instead of responding to the letter from Khomeini, where Khomeini is basically demanding that the Shah remove women's rights because it's against Islam. The Shah instead sends his commandos, whatever, to where Khomeini was in the seminary in Qom, and then they break all the windows and whatever. And then this guy says maybe one or two people were murdered. We don't know. Well, if someone was actually murdered, wouldn't you have documentation? Wouldn't you have evidence? Wouldn't you have a name? Wouldn't you have some sort of death certificate? Right? Do you see how they create propaganda? They kind of like just throw it out there casually without no evidence to back it up. Okay. I guarantee you, if someone had actually been murdered in that, whatever that happened, there would be a name. But the fact that he's casually slipping it in there, again, this is the propaganda that they've been pushing for a very long time.
خب اینجا دیگه اعلام جنگ با آخوندا. یه عده از رجال سابق که بیشتر هم همکارای پدرش بودن میان بهش میگن این کارو نکن، این کار خطرناکه. تمام اینا رو دستور میده اخراج میکنن. یعنی دیگه با اینا کار نمیکنه. و این ژنریشن جدید است کسی اون شخصیت نداره که بگه آقا راه شما اشتباهه، شما برید هم خودتون و هم ما رو میبرید به جهنم.
I had to send one of those stubborn obscurantist clergymen abroad. He had to travel.
این انقلاب ننگین و خونین به اصطلاح
I don't know how anyone can look at this guy's face and think he's a good guy or that what he did was good in any way. Like this man, not even a man, like this thing is more evil than Satan. Yeah, like the Shah was literally protecting Iran from demons. Unfortunately, the Iranian people, the silent majority, did not wake up until it was too late and the demons had already taken control of Iran in 1979.
سفید که در یک روز با تانک و مسلسل 15,000 مسلمان را آنطور که معروف است از پای درآورد، روزگار ملت را سیاه تر ساخت. در بسیاری از شهرستانها و اکثر روستاها دکتر و دارو وجود ندارد. از مدرسه، حمام و آب آشامیدنی سالم خبری نیست.
So that's complete and utter nonsense. The Shah was actually building 4,000 schools a year, and he actually had created and employed something called like the Peace Army. And the Peace Army was tasked with going into all these rural villages to not just build schools, but to educate people and to, take doctors and nurses there as well. So again, like these are all lies being spouted by Khomeini, again, like an Islamic Shia cleric who is one of the most evil people in the history of humanity, and all he does is lie. So you could see here what he's trying to put out there is he's trying to um, tell people that everything is really bad. Now, I'm not saying Iran was 100% modern at the time, absolutely not. The Pahlavi dynasty inherited an underdeveloped third world country from the previous dynasty. And so, of course, it's going to take time to build Iran up, right? It's not something that happens overnight, it's like a decades long project. The Shah was working towards that. However, because the Shah was modernizing Iran, Khomeini didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that women were being given the right to vote. So he started this campaign of lies, right? So the things he's talking about now have actually nothing to do with why he wanted to take over Iran. He wanted to take over Iran to use it as like a base for his Islamic caliphate. But he knew that if he wanted to do that, he would have to fool the people into thinking that the Shah was bad and he was good. So he started sending out all of these, letters and cassette tapes and whatever, all of it filled with lies and nonsense. And of course, back then, people did not have internet. They did not have access to computers or cell phones, so they could not independently fact check. They just assumed that everything that this, quote unquote man of God was saying would be the truth. They never thought in a million years that he would actually be a liar.
در بعضی از دهات کودکان معصوم را از گرسنگی به چرا میبرند.
That again, a full-on lie. The Shah actually instituted a national food program where basically in all of the public schools, students would also be fed. So again, this is just like utter propaganda.
ولی دستگاه جبار صدها میلیون تومان از سرمایه این مملکت را صرف جشن‌های ننگین می‌کند و از همه مصیبت‌ها.
So again, he's painting this false picture, right? So he's saying that everyone was poor, not the case, right? Not the case whatsoever. And then he's complaining about the 2,500-year-old party, which put Iran on the map and actually boosted investment, boosted tourism. It was good for the economy. But again, this is an evil man, right? He doesn't care about Iran. And I showed you his video at the beginning of my other live stream, right? Where he says, we don't want patriots, we want Muslims. Patriotism is the enemy of Islam. If you're a patriot, that means you're putting your country first, you're not putting Islam first. So he had a big problem with that celebration that the Shah had, because that celebration predates Islam. That celebration was about the 2,500-year history of Iran, going back to Cyrus the Great, right? Because Iran's existed thousands of years before Islam was invented. The Shah didn't like that, so the Khomeini didn't like that, so he started creating these lies, right? And you can see he's still putting in that the 2,000-year celebration, and he's spinning it to make it seem like it was just like some random festival or whatever. But again, like it's normal. In fact, it's highly encouraged for governments to spend money on traditional celebrations that promote heritage and culture, right? Every single country does it. Germany does Oktoberfest. Canada does Canada Day. United States does 4th of July, right? All of these things happen. They are a part of the country's heritage, part of the culture. It attracts tourism. Again, but this guy, right, this Islamic Shia cleric, first of all, he was completely uneducated, right? So he didn't know anything about the economy or finance or nothing. So he wouldn't even have the mental capacity to understand that when you invest in tourism in your own country, that actually brings more tourists in, and you benefit from what you invested by 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, right? This guy has no concept of basic economy. And again, for him, the only thing that matters is turning Iran into an Islamic Sharia country. So of course he's going to complain about the celebration because the celebration is something that predates Islam and he viewed that as a threat. So that's why he's, all of these lies and slander is going out there.
بالاتر جشن منحوس 2500 ساله شاهنشاهی.
Right? It wasn't just the celebration of the founding of the monarchy. It was a celebration of the founding of the Persian Empire with Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great is the most well-known, most decorated, most respected historical figure and king in the history of human civilization. But this Islamic Shia cleric didn't like that, didn't like the fact that Iranian culture and heritage was being celebrated. You heard it himself. You heard it himself.
دنیا بداند که این جشن‌ها مربوط به ملت شریف و مسلمان ایران نیست و دایر کننده و شرکت کننده این جشن‌ها خائن به اسلام و به ملت ایران میباشد.
So see how he's saying like holding these celebrations is against Islam, and then he just like lumps the Iranian people in, which makes no sense because the celebration is literally about Iranian identity and heritage, right? Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire, whereas Islam is something that was invented in Saudi Arabia, right? Like Islam is an Arabic thing. But he's trying to say that the 2,500-year celebration, which is actually an Iranian cultural heritage celebration, has nothing to do with Iran, but Islam, which was brought in by the Arab Muslim invaders in 650 AD, is somehow related to Iran, right? So he, again, like that's what Islamists do. That's what colonizers do. They want to spin the narrative. They also want to erase the indigenous, they want to erase the identity of the indigenous people who are there and replace it with Islam and Islamic culture. So that's what he was trying to do here, right? He's trying to basically say that Cyrus the Great has nothing to do with Iran, even though it has everything to do with Iran, but Islam, which is a foreign religion that was brought by the colonizers, is somehow Iranian, right? So you can already see how he's trying to erase the Iranian identity and history. And that's what the Islamists have constantly done in various parts of the Middle East and around the world, where they've tried to superimpose their ideological beliefs over the indigenous people of that land.
I'm probably more religious than those people myself. This is the story of my life. I'm mystical, I'm religious, but I believe the true religion, the religion of God, the religion of our Prophet, and not what has been added to it by those who want to make it a job, a profiteering job for themselves.
And that's the other thing. The Shah was a Muslim, right? Like he was a Muslim, but yet that wasn't good enough for the Islamic Shia clerics because he wasn't the right kind of Muslim. He wasn't Muslim enough according to them. He put his country first. He was modernizing Iran. The clerics didn't like that. So according to them, he wasn't even a real Muslim.
Ici, dans cette plaine désertique du sud, le problème fondamental, c'est l'eau. L'arrivée du petit train est attendue avec impatience. Que souhaitez-vous le plus au monde?
Une meilleure vie, beaucoup d'argent, pouvoir m'amuser.
Mais est-ce qu'il n'y a pas quelque chose de spécial?
Tout me ferait plaisir. Je ne sais pas.
Rien ne vous tente particulièrement?
Une machine à coudre.
Avez-vous déjà vu le chat?
Non, je ne l'ai jamais vu, mais j'aimerais le voir. C'est mon désir le plus cher.
So do you see how this woman says, I've never seen him, but it's my biggest wish? This should give you a sense of understanding in terms of how much the Iranian people loved their Shah. Everyone loved the Shah. Why? Because he was working on modernizing and improving Iran, and that was being felt and noticed around the country. So even like, rural villagers who had never seen him loved him and wanted to see him. Like this is how much the Shah was loved by his people.
Qui est le Shah? Le Shah est un grand Dieu, c'est le Dieu du peuple. Quand nous prions pour le Shah. Nous l'aimons beaucoup.
The word Shah in Iran was associated to perfection. And Iranians really did like the Shah. They associated themselves, at least when I was young, to the Shah, to the country having a Shah. Shah was part of our everyday life.
That's 100% true. Just the concept of Shah and monarchy is so integral to Iranian identity and culture. Even like our most famous literary work in Farsi is called Shahnameh, which means the Book of Kings, right? That was written by an Iranian poet named Ferdowsi. I think it was like 1,000 years ago or so. And the Shahnameh is basically the Iranian version of Shakespeare for us, right? So you know how Shakespeare is so important to English culture and it's studied in high schools and everything. The Shahnameh, which is the Book of Kings, right? That's the same thing for us Iranians. And the concept of Shah so important to our cultural identity, our heritage, our poetry, our stories. It's our stories are all about kings freeing people. And it all goes back to Cyrus the Great, right? The founder of the Persian Empire and the principles and values that he had, and those principles and values that built the Persian Empire and made it what it is today. So that's why the concept of Shah is so important to our Iranian cultural identity and heritage.
The greatest show on earth is also going to be one of the most select. The Shahs invited 60 of the world's heads of state from as far away as Norway and Nepal, Lesotho and Liechtenstein to spend 3 days with him in this special royal village. There's even a British delegation.
When Princess Anne and the Duke arrive here at Persepolis for the 3-day party, they'll be accommodated, like all the rest of the 60 heads of state, in a tent. In fact, we're told, in this tent, although protocol might change their minds and switch everybody round. Now, this is the sort of thing they'll have in each of these tents. There are 6 cut glasses on a tortoiseshell tray. There's this perfumed candle in a glass cylinder with a decorative snake, and an ornamental Iranian ashtray.
For morning tea, all Princess Anne will have to do is give a little tinkle on her bedside bell, for near at hand is her personal maid, who sleeps on a fold-away bed in the kitchen. It's fully equipped, as are all the arrangements. The tents are all tastefully situated in a forest of young trees, 15,000 of them flown in specially from Versailles, not to mention the 15,000 flowering shrubs. And then in the top-secret banqueting tent is the food, 4 tons of it, again all from Paris. There's even a French-built royal club.
Est-ce que vous êtes heureuse finalement de ces fêtes, avant qu'elles ne commencent en tout cas?
C'est un peu comme le couronnement quand on me pensait, on a tellement de choses à faire, une tellement grande responsabilité.
So this is the current Empress of Iran, Farah Diba. We love her. She just turned 87 a few weeks ago.
Pour vraiment tout, on est en train de montrer, on est en train de célébrer 2500 ans.
Right, so she says we're about to celebrate the 2,500-year history of this country. So it's a big deal, guys. This was a huge deal.
De culture et d'histoire d'un pays, de voir que tout aille bien et il faut voir tous les petits détails. C'est surtout on est tellement occupé, on travaille, on n'a pas le temps. C'est après qu'on va peut-être penser qu'est-ce que c'était et comment on s'est senti. Maintenant, c'est le travail.
I worked 8 seasons at the Palace Hotel in St. Moritz. In the palace, they called me after the season. They called me up. They said, the Shah of Iran is making a big party. So we are all going to Persepolis.
We were about 40, 50 people from the palace.
I took the train from my home valley. I brought myself a Swiss sausage and a piece of bread. My friends, they already went to Tehran before, and they went to the Hilton Hotel and had some caviar and champagne.
As we go to the play, everybody was quiet because a lot of them were afraid to fly. The most of them never had been in a plane. Und dann sind wir mag ich mich noch erinnern, da war ein Freund von mir und der sagte, da unter diesem Boden, das ist alles voller Öl.
من که فرزند این سرزمینم در پی توشه ای خوش چینم شادم از پیشه خوش چینی.
The Scandinavian monarchs had hired a plane for the three of them, and I went into that plane with my Greek cousin, King Constantine. And in the plane, I remember that I was discussing the jewels that the queens in the plane were bringing. Queen Anne-Marie said, I'm bringing the emeralds, which are huge. I mean, they were Romanov emeralds, and everyone was bringing the best. I said, listen, compared to what Empress Farah is going to show, it's peanuts, because she has the most important jewels on earth.
At the beginning, I thought it was just bling bling and, as they say in Germany, schickimicki. That is a little bit smart and snob, but nothing interesting. So then I changed my mind.
What's going on? Are they coming after me again? Wait, what happened? No, but it shouldn't be the song. It shouldn't be the song. All right, let's continue. So this documentary is publicly available on YouTube, right? Like I'm streaming it from a YouTube channel, but again, I guess they don't like the fact that I'm sharing the truth with you. I don't know, like I'm just sharing a publicly available documentary and I'm commenting on it. But wait, did the stream end? Did the stream end? Wait. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, guys, the stream ended again. So they're coming after me. Wow, okay. Wow. Okay. So I will have to figure this out, but the stream ended on YouTube again. We're about halfway through this documentary. Apparently, they don't like me sharing the truth about Iran. So there you go. Anyways, I want to thank all of you who have joined me on YouTube and on X, and I will see what we can do, and we'll try to hopefully get this figured out for next time. But until then, see you tomorrow. Payand Iran, Javid Shah.